Picture this. You're 28 years old with a decent job. You're pulling in $56,000 a year. Just like Marcus, a warehouse supervisor. Average salary? Average life. One afternoon, he opens his 401k for the first time in months. And there it is. $3,200. 3 years of work. 3 years of showing up. And $3,200 to show for it. He knows he needs $1 million. He's heard that number. $1 million. And $3,200 feels so laughably far away. He closes the app. Maybe when he earns more, he thinks. But here's the thing. Marcus isn't special. He's most people. The median American in their late 20s has under $10,000 saved. In the UK, 38% of adults have no pension savings at all. In Canada, 1 in 3 will retire with less than $100,000. That gap between where people are and where they need to be, it isn't fixed by earning more. It's fixed by understanding one thing. I'm Jeff, and I spent the last 2 weeks running the actual numbers, not rough estimates, not motivation, the actual math on building $1 million. And what I found might completely change how you think about this, because the number one belief stopping average earners, it's a myth. A myth about income. And it's holding millions of people back. What salary do you think you need to retire with $1 million? Most people say 6 figures. $100,000, $120,000 a year minimum. And I get it. $1 million sounds like a high earners game. But here's the thing. The math doesn't care about your salary. It cares about your savings rate. Just your savings rate. Someone earning $200,000 and spending $195,000 builds nothing. Nothing. The average U.S. household income right now is around $80,000. In the UK, about £35,000. In Canada, around $62,000. Normal incomes. Average people. All of them can retire with $1 million. Earning more doesn't automatically build wealth. Lifestyle creep eats every raise. I call this the lifestyle creep trap, and it gets everyone. Doctors sometimes retire with less than teachers who max their 401k. So let's forget income. Let's talk about the actual number you need. Here's the part I love, where the math does something magical. $500 a month. That's our starting number. $500 every single month. Invested in a broad index fund tracking the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has returned about 10% per year on average since 1926. Adjusting for inflation, that's about 7% real return annually. We'll use 7%. Let's run the numbers. Year 1, you've put in $6,000. With 7% growth, you've got about $6,210. Barely any difference. This is the slow phase, and it's exactly why most people quit. Year 10. You've contributed $60,000. Your account sits at $86,000. That extra $26,000? Pure compound growth, not from your paycheck. Year 20. You've put in $120,000. But the account says $261,000. The growth now exceeds what you've contributed. The engine is running. Year 30. $180,000 contributed. Account value, $606,000. Growth outpaces you. The money is doing more work than you are. 2 to 1. Year 40. You've put in $240,000. Your account, $1,312,000. Over $1 million. On just $500 a month? In the last decade alone, the account grew by over $700,000. But you only contributed $60,000 of new money in those final 10 years. The other $640,000 came from compound growth alone. That's the engine. That's what people miss when they say they don't earn enough. The key ingredient isn't money. It's time. And that's everything. All right. Here's the part I want you to screenshot or write down. 40 years to retirement. You need $415 per month at 7%. 35 years to retirement. You need about $588 per month. 30 years, $830 per month. 25 years, $1,200 per month. These are real, achievable numbers on completely average salaries. Now I know what you're thinking. Some of those seem high, but remember, you also have Social Security, state pension, CPP, government support. $1 million doesn't have to do all the work alone. Second, these numbers don't include employer matching, and that changes everything. Back to Marcus. He earns $56,000 and contributes 10% to his 401k. That's $466 a month from Marcus. His employer adds $140 more. He opens a Roth IRA and puts in $300 a month. Total, $906 a month going to work on a $56,000 salary at 7% for 37 years. Projected balance of $1.7 million. That stunned him too. And it's not magic. It's just math. Where you put the money matters almost as much as how much. Let me walk you through the 3 buckets. In order. Bucket 1, your workplace retirement account. 401k, RRSP, workplace pension. This is always your first stop. Tax advantages and employer matching. In 2025, the 401k contribution limit is $23,500 per year. At minimum, always contribute enough to get the full employer match. Not doing that is literally leaving part of your salary on the table. Bucket 2, your IRA, up to $7,000 per year in 2025. For most average earners, the Roth IRA is the better option. Pay taxes now. All future growth comes out completely tax-free. Bucket 3, a taxable brokerage account. No limits, no restrictions. This is the overflow bucket after you've maxed tax-advantaged accounts. And in all 3, broad market index funds. Low fees, simple. S&P 500 index funds with expense ratios of 0.03% to 0.10%. Fees matter. A 1% annual fee versus 0.1%? That gap compounds. Over time, that fee difference alone could cost you over $100,000. At 28, Marcus thought retirement was something that happened to other people. People with better jobs, bigger salaries, parents who taught them about money. His parents never talked about money. It was always tight, always stressful. After rent, car, groceries, he felt like he had nothing left. But one evening, he sat down and actually ran the numbers. He found that increasing his contribution from 2% to 10% would only drop his take-home pay by about $290 a month. Because the contribution is pre-tax, lower taxes offset the difference. Less than $300 a month felt uncomfortable, but manageable. He did it. He bumped it to 10%, opened a Roth IRA, set the auto transfer. He set up $300 auto transfer on the same day as his paycheck. He didn't feel rich. He still felt stretched. But he did it. Fast forward 5 years. Marcus is 33. Salary now, $63,000. Every raise, he bumped his contribution by 1%. He's now at 13%. His retirement balance, $87,000. On track for $1.8 million by 65. Remember that $3,200 balance that made him want to close the app? He looks at $87,000 now and feels the opposite of hopeless. He feels like the game is already won. Just keep showing up. Let's bring this home. 3 strategies you can start this week. Strategy 1, the automatic millionaire. Set up auto contributions today, not next payday, today. Log in and set up a recurring transfer. The best investors automated the decision and removed themselves from the equation. Even $200 a month at age 25 becomes $528,000 by age 65. Strategy 2, the match maximizer. Always capture the full employer match first. Employer matching is the highest guaranteed return available to working people. Strategy 3, the 1% escalator. Every time you get a raise, increase your retirement contribution by 1%. That's it, 1%. You won't even notice it. Your take-home still goes up with the raise. Over 10 years of raises, you go from 6% contributions to 16%. This is how average earners quietly build extraordinary retirement wealth. Not through one big dramatic decision, through small, consistent escalations. Back to Marcus, 28 years old, $3,200, feeling like it was impossible. That moment was actually the moment before everything changed. The math doesn't care where you start. It only cares when you start. You might be in Marcus's shoes right now. Low balance, starting late, but the second best time to start is right now. Today, $415, $588, $830 a month. Real numbers, achievable on an average salary. This is educational only, not financial advice. Your situation is unique. If this helped, subscribe to Jeff on Investing. Real numbers, no hype. Drop a comment below. Tell me your starting point. I want to hear it. The next video is right here. I'll see you there.